Well, welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Today, I want to talk about Mr. Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe is a great guy. He's a smart man. He is a great athlete for sure. And he said some things about women and money that got my attention. As you guys know, I wrote a book called Financial Lovemaking. So I'm always interested in topics that involve relationships and money. My PhD is in finance. And so I've been fascinated with how money affects our behavior. And I unpacked some things in the depths of Shannon's comments that I think you can provide valuable lessons for everyone in terms of what financial trauma and what past experiences can do in terms of shaping our views, not just on relationships, but also money. So if you could give me a yes in the chat, let me know you can hear me okay. Get comfortable, buckle up a seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I hope you guys are doing well. Let me know what city you're coming from. I see Marcelino and Hero Simple. Good to see you. Dana Washington, Lady Love. I see you, Jermaine Trusty. Good to see you, Gregory Bowers. Good to see you, and also everybody else that's in the chat. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and joining me in this conversation. Now, I'm going to get right to it so we can have a good discussion on this. And I want to remind everybody, don't forget this podcast is on Spotify and Apple. So if you look up my name, Boyce Watkins, on Spotify and Apple, you can find stuff there. Also, if you'd like to get free stuff from the Black Business School, just go to boycewatkins.com. If you want to build your wealth, that's what we do. We're the best on earth when it comes to Black wealth. We're committed to it, and we want to help you become successful. So boycewatkins.com is a good place to begin. So let's talk about this brother right here, this brother Shannon Sharpe. So Shannon Sharpe is a great football player. I've known about Shannon for many years, and I like his shows. He was really good on the show with the white guy, Skip Bayless. I can't remember the show. I think it was called First Take or something like that. And then also now he's on with Stephen A. Smith, which I think makes them into a great duo, great combination. Both of those guys are very good at what they do. And also Shannon was the baddest of the baddest when it came to football. I had a lot of respect for him as an athlete and also as a human being. He seems to be accomplished and hardworking. And I'm going to say this too. I don't know Stephen A., but I did meet him. I met Stephen A. 2 times. I was on his show. He had me on his show a few times. Back when he had a show called Quite Frankly, I was on there a few times. He always showed respect. I saw him also at Madison Square Garden when I did an interview there many years ago. Stephen A. was very, very cool back then too. Good people, good guys, nothing against anybody, but I wanted to kind of break something down for you. So how many of you, give me a yes or no in the chat if you saw this. Did any of you see where Shannon Sharpe made some comments about relationships and women? I put some of it up on my Instagram. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. If you like intellectual stimulation, if you like deep conversations, and you want to have fun too, feel free to follow me at Dr. Boyce Finance. I'm such a big mouth. I got my other Instagram banned. I had 500,000 people on the other one, so now I just rebuilt it. That's what happens. Sometimes your platforms get taken down, but I'm not deplatformed. I have over 1 million on YouTube and 3 million on Facebook. So we're good. We are good. But anyway, if you want to follow me on Instagram, just go to Dr. Boyce Finance. But did anybody see? Give me a yes or no if you saw this. Did you see where Shannon made some remarks about relationships that were very strange? It had to do with women and women being out front and women, having getting active on social media and him kind of wanting the woman to kind of stay in the back while he went out and did his thing. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to actually play a video clip for you guys. And he has these conversations, these excellent discussions with Chad Ochocinco, another great athlete. And I just really think that this is worth discussing because I saw some stuff and I said, ooh, buddy, it got my little scholar brain ticking like, ooh, I'm seeing some stuff here. Let me take some notes here. This is a great lesson in terms of understanding how love and money connect, how our experiences shape who we are. And it also should be information that helps you make investments in people in terms of what kinds of people on the ones you want to partner with, and which ones might be a little bit damaged or a little bit challenged. So let me just play this clip. Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear the clip. Let me know if you can hear it. Here it goes.
Savannah's been in LeBron's life since she was 15.
You know, but this is the thing. This is what you don't understand. That wasn't God's plan for you. God wanted you to find your Savannah on the back end. He wants you to find your Savannah on the back end.
But you have to be, you see what Savannah said, look, I'm okay with being in the back. I wanted to be a wife and raise the kids. Go get that. I got you. Yeah. I'm holding it down over here. Ocho, you don't see Savannah trying to be in the front. Right. You don't see Savannah. She ain't on IG like that. Yeah. She ain't out there talking about, oh, I'm on a private plane. I'm on an island. And to each their own, to whomever doing that. Right. But I'm saying she is content with letting LeBron be out in the front, doing what he needs to do. She say, baby, I got the kids. Yeah. I got Bronny. I got Bryce. I got Zuri. You handle that.
Okay, so did you guys hear that clip? Did you guys see what I saw? And what did you think about the clip? Give me a quick comment in the chat to let me know what you think. Lady Love says he seems like a narcissist. I'm not going to call him a narcissist. I'm not going to judge. I'll let you be the judge of that. I'll say that, you know, obviously I don't agree because my wife does do things on social media, and I don't think that her success is a threat to my success or a distraction from the relationship. But then again, to each his own. I think everybody has the right to shop for what they want to shop for when it comes to love and relationships. Nothing wrong with that. So, you know, I'm not going to sit here and criticize another man's choice, but and in fact, I'm not even talking about this for gossipy reasons or because I'm so fascinated with the life of Shannon Sharpe, but really there's an educational process here in terms of understanding how life shapes our perspectives and our desires, and what a contradiction kind of looks like when it comes to what you choose to invest in. Let me explain why I thought that comment was interesting. Okay. So first off, it speaks to a clear perspective, and Shannon's from the South. You know, he's Southern black men. You know, we kind of have our little preferences. I consider myself a Southern black man. I'm from Kentucky, but he's from Georgia, and we have our point of view. But I think also this idea that somehow your partner's ambition can distract or deflect from what you're trying to do, that does speak to a certain disposition that may or may not be is mutually supportive, right? And now at the same time, you know, there are gender roles, and really generally every relationship has its own rules, and you can make that decision. You can pick whoever you want. I will say this though, I think that the fact that Shannon is 55 years old and still has not found a woman that fits whatever that standard is for him, that speaks to the idea that he probably won't ever find that woman, right? You know, think about this. Look, Shannon Sharpe is a big, strong, rich, famous man. I mean, seriously. I mean, you know, I'm sure women all over the place, you know, are attracted to this guy. He's probably met thousands of women, right? Really. You know, I'm not nearly as famous as Shannon Sharpe, and even as with my little internet fame or scholar fame, even I had too many women around to even, like, there was too many women coming at me. I didn't like that, honestly. I just want one good one and a few good experiences in my life. I don't need to have every girl. I'm not trying to do all that. You know, there's diseases and false accusations and complications and emotional damage. And that's not, after a while, it gets old, to be honest with you. So Shannon is probably Boyce's life times 10, I'm sure, right? So Shannon has met lots of women, thousands and thousands of women. So the fact that he hasn't met one that really fits the standard probably says more about him than it does about the women. It says more about the standard than it does about the women that he's met. Right now, one thing that was interesting to me that I thought was a little bit of a contradiction that really got my attention to talk about this, because I saw another clip where Shannon made a comment about what he expects from a woman in terms of bringing something to the table. Now, what I'm gonna do is play this clip. Let me guys, you guys, let me know if you can hear this one. Here we go. This is another interview that Shannon did not too long ago. The clip's a little bit longer, but I want you to compare what he said before. So in this clip, this first clip, he says, you know, I need you sitting in the back. I need you taking care of the kids. Basically, I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna conquer. I'm gonna be the breadwinner. You know, if it's a football team, I'm gonna go score the touchdowns. I need you to block, or whatever. I need you to be a cheerleader, right? So here is another clip, and I'm gonna explain to you why these clips confuse me a little bit. So here it goes. Let me know if you can hear this. Here it goes.
I got 3 dogs, a bull mastiff, and 2 Pomeranians. So that's a
2 Pomeranians. You don't look like the type to have
drastic difference.
Yeah, a big difference. Those are my guys.
Okay.
For me, is that I'm a movie guy. I work out. I stay to myself. I'm single. For me, is what I tell females now. I'm looking for someone to partner with, not someone to sponsor.
Right.
In LA, you know, that means a lot.
So
You know,
for me,
it's a lot of sponsorships out here.
And for me, I need you to bring something more to the picnic than your appetite.
Absolutely.
Bring utensils, bring napkins,
something.
Even if you're bringing tater salad that Becky cooking, it's not even good.
Right.
It got grapes in it.
Something.
Just bring something.
Right.
And so for me, and it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough because you're like, hey, do you like me for me, or you like me for the
TV, the opportunity?
Right. Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough. And so,
Yeah. LA is, again, we got 3 single older men here in LA. It's not like any other city when it comes to the dating scene. It just ain't.
And we are plenty. They try to say that there's no good ones out there. I would consider myself a good man. And if I had to vouch for 2 good men, I would vouch for you 2 guys.
Well, thank you, buddy.
On the real. That ain't just me just throwing no sugar stuff over here either. I'm just being real. If somebody like say, do you have any single guys? Now that I know you're really single, depending on who they are, I may give them a recommendation. I'm like, yo, you know what? Turn on.
Wait. You didn't hear him say depending on who they are. So basically, if they tight and he like them, he gonna go in first.
He got first deal.
No. I'm gonna be looking out for you. But if I know that they on some bull jive,
they get the bull jive.
That's what I'm saying. See, I just gave him a comment. He want to try to throw me on the back.
But I will say I kind of got my eye on someone right now.
There you go. Okay.
But we gonna see where it goes.
Go work it out.
We're gonna see where it goes.
But does that person know that you have your eyes on them?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? Okay, cool. Okay.
I don't know.
No, I'm just saying, because you said you got your eye on them. They may not know if you really got your eyes on them.
But the thing, the number one thing is that she has her own.
Yo, yes. Bringing something to the table.
Yes.
That's huge.
Yes.
Bring something to the table.
I don't care. Look, if we try to get 30 cents and I got to have a quarter and you only got a nickel, we good.
We good. Yeah.
But don't let me have to go the whole 30 cents on my own
All
and
the
then talk
time.
about we good. No, we not good.
Right.
We not good.
What? You ain't lying.
So
All right. So that was the second clip, right? Now, did anybody give me a yes or no if you noticed a little bit of a contradiction? And as you answer this, I'm gonna tell you what I observed here. Now, let me know. Did y'all pick up on that and the fact that it was kind of a little bit of it came off as a contradiction in that on one hand he says, I'm gonna go out and get it done. You go do that. I'm here with the kids. I want you to stay home. Stay home, bake cookies, take care of the children, whatever. I'm gonna be out in the world, scoring touchdowns and bringing home the bacon. But then the second part of it seems to speak to a more modern perspective that says, look, don't be showing up with nothing. Don't be out here like not having resources that you can bring to the table. You got to be able to pretty much have an income or something that's going to add to the family pot. Which it's a little bit of a contradiction because it's saying on one hand, you're supposed to be home with the kids, but the other hand, you're supposed to be out in the field, making things happen, being a playmaker like me. And sometimes that might involve, if you are with a woman, say, who's an entrepreneur, she's probably going to have to use social media, right? She's probably going to, she's got a real estate business. She's probably going to need an Instagram or a Twitter or something. So I think that expectation to stay off social media and stay in the background with the kids and also simultaneously going out in the world and bringing home the bacon is just a little bit confusing, I imagine, for a lot of people. Now, one thing about Shannon, and I was kind of looking, into the background, and this is an interesting profile in terms of understanding human beings and men. And also this is an interesting case study. I can't wait to hear what my wife says about this because my wife is the head of our Black Financial Therapy department that we have in the Black Business School. And the reason we created the first ever Black Financial Therapy department is because we realized we talked to a lot of therapists and did a lot of research, and we realized that there are a lot of psychological barriers that keep Black people from building wealth, because also there are barriers that keep you from building the culture to develop wealth. Like in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, I talk extensively about culture and what a wealth building culture looks like. And the challenge that a lot of Black folks have is that we don't really have a culture designed to build wealth. We have a culture that's designed to destroy wealth. Whether you're talking about excessive consumerism, broken families, just bad choices. And so here you have a guy. Now, Shannon's doing very, very well. He's making a lot of money, I'm sure, and stuff like that. But he also mentioned that making all this money it doesn't matter if you don't have someone to share this with. So it sounds like he's saying, I'm looking for something, but you haven't found it yet. And so even though we've met thousands of women, we've been very public for 20, 30 years. He also speaks also of the fact that he loved football a lot, and he needed a woman that loved him as much as he loved football, but he would never love a woman as much as he loved football, right? He said that. He said, I was a terrible father, terrible brother, probably a terrible boyfriend. I think he has a couple of kids. And so I did some research to kind of look at it, and I said, okay, so I get this, right? So, and in fact, someone told me this, and I got to double check this, but I think someone even said that he something like he couldn't put his woman ahead of his dogs. But I got to double check that part. I got to make sure I don't misquote him on that. But I could have swore they said that, right? So it's an interesting kind of imbalance. But again, we have a right to demand whatever we want. So I'm not saying that he's wrong for this. I'm just saying that it's data. It's interesting data. So as I was listening to this, and I listened to his issues in terms of why he can't find the right woman, and also how he feels about economic contributions, and also his concern in finance, we call that risk aversion. His risk aversion, his fear of somebody using him for his resources. He mentioned that in that second interview. I said, okay, that all speaks to the stuff we talk about in the Black Financial Therapy Department in the Black Business School, which is financial anxiety. My wife, by the way, Dr. Alicia Watkins, wrote a whole workbook on financial anxiety. Millions of our people struggle with various forms of financial anxiety. And in fact, I'm going to give you her website if you want to go take a look at some of her work. It's really, really good. She's super smart when it comes to this stuff. And there's her website. It's coachingwithdralicia.com. And the thing about it is that at that point, when I hear him express that kind of anxiety when it comes to women, and that anxiety when it comes to money. And by the way, there's my wife, by the way. I ain't got no anxiety when it comes to her. I think she fine as hell, by the way. Shout out to all you fine ass Black women. I love y'all. Smart Black women too. But anyway, let me stop getting googly eyed with my wife. That just happens sometimes. But anyway, so when I hear that anxiety when it comes to women, and that anxiety when it comes to money, and that anxiety when it comes to women and money, that makes me start digging deeper. And it makes me say, what was your childhood like? So what was your relationship with your mother like? Now, again, I'm not here to speculate on Shannon Sharpe's relationship with his mother. I do not know this man, and it is not my goal on any level to disparage him. But this is data to help you understand when you meet people, when you meet a man, and he's Mr. Wonderful. I think, ladies, you gotta be able to do these assessments. Same thing is true with men as well, right? When you meet a woman, you gotta look. So here's what I found out from my research. Now, again, I have not verified this, but I Googled a lot and looked around some different articles. And one thing I saw that really got my attention was they said that he was raised by his grandmother, his grandparents. And typically when a kid is raised by their grandparents, that means that there was something going on with the parents. The parents were too busy. The parents were doing God knows what. Like, I'm not putting this on his mother though, or his father. I'm not saying that at all. But I thought it was interesting that the article I read, if you look at his Wikipedia page, there's no mention of his parents. If you read my Wikipedia page, there's a whole story about my parents. My father left, and my stepfather stepped in, and my mother was there, and what my mother did. All that stuff is there, right? But with Shannon Sharpe, I did not see that. So I had to go search further to find out about this whole thing with the grandparents. So I said, I wonder if the distrust of women links to the relationship with the mother. I'd be curious to understand that relationship better. And maybe she was there, but maybe there was some pain. Maybe there was some challenges that created a little bit of insecurity as it pertains to women. I've mentioned to you all a million times, and I hope you'll hear me when I say it for the million and first time, that relationship with that opposite sex parent shapes all your relationships for the rest of your life. And this is where this is why we team up with so many therapists in the Black Business School, because undiagnosed, untreated trauma is the number one barrier for success and wealth in the Black community. It's the number one barrier. So I wonder if there's any trauma there when it comes to the mother, which shapes the fact that he's a 55-year-old man who still is saying, I haven't met the one. Now, I'd get it if you were, a 400-pound garbage man who made $8 an hour. But you're Shannon Sharpe. You're built like a freaking machine. He stays in great shape. You're world famous. You're making probably 10, 15 million a year at ESPN. You ain't gonna have no trouble finding a woman. But for whatever reason, no woman can meet that standard. People who tend to have that mindset tend to have a barrier. They're usually looking for something that doesn't exist. And that trauma has put up a big wall that's blocking them from having that ability to be vulnerable to another person, because those vulnerabilities have taken their toll. here's another thing that I picked up on in terms of the trauma. Now, actually, before I mention that point, if y'all could do me a favor really quick, please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. We're talking about Shannon Sharpe, but not in a mean way. But we're talking about the statements about women and not wanting women to go out and be visible, but at the same time expecting them to be contributors, and at the same time being a 55-year-old person who still hasn't met the one. I think there's a lot to unpack here. And in case you want to know why these things fascinate me, I did write a book called Financial Lovemaking many years ago when I was on the faculty at Syracuse. And if you want to go read the book, feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. You can get an autographed copy. Our middle child will ship it out to you. She ships out books every single day. That's how we teach her about business. She actually works in the family business. We also have financial flashcards for your kids and financial workbooks for every grade band. We partner with Black educators to create Black-specific, Black-owned products that will give your child the best Black economic education to the point where they'll be ahead of a college graduate before they even finish high school. That's how good we are. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com, hit the thumbs up button. Okay, so here's the thing about Shannon Sharpe. All right, so let me play one of the clips again. I played the clip a little bit earlier. Some of you just came in. I want to play the clip again so we can analyze it with a fresh eye, so I can make another point. And I want to make sure I get my thoughts straight on this. So listen to this part here.
Hey, I got 3 dogs, a bull mastiff, and 2 Pomeranians. So that's a
2 Pomeranians. You don't look like the type to have
drastic difference.
Yeah, a big difference. Those are my guys.
Okay.
For me, is that I'm a movie guy. I work out. I stay to myself. I'm single. For me, is what I tell females now. I'm looking for someone to partner with, not someone to sponsor.
Right.
In LA, you know, that means a lot. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of sponsorships out here.
And for me, I need you to bring something more to the picnic than your appetite.
Absolutely.
Bring utensils, bring napkins,
something.
Even if you're bringing tater salad that Becky cooking, it's not even good.
Right.
They got grapes in it. Just bring something.
Right.
And so for me, and it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough because you're like, hey, do you like me for me, or you like me for the
TV, the opportunity?
Right. Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough. And so,
yeah. LA is, again, we got 3 single older men here in LA. It's not like any other city when it comes to the dating scene. It just ain't.
And we are plenty. They try to say that there's no good ones out there. I would consider myself a good man. And if I had to vouch for 2 good men, I would vouch for you 2 guys.
Well, thank you, buddy.
On the real. That ain't just me just throwing no sugar stuff over here either. I'm just being real. If somebody like said, do you have any single guy? Now that I know you're really single, depending on who they are, I may give them a recommendation. I'm like, yo, you know what? Turn on.
Wait. You didn't hear him say depending on who they are. So basically, if they tight and he like them, he gonna go in first.
He got first deal.
No. I'm gonna be looking out for you. But if I know if they on some bull jive,
they get the bull jive.
That's what I'm saying. See, I just gave him a comment. He want to try to throw me on the bed.
But I will say I kind of got my eye on someone right now.
There you go. Okay.
But we gonna see where it goes.
Go work it out.
We're gonna see where it goes.
But does that person know that you have your eyes on them?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? Okay, cool. Okay.
Okay, so let me take that down now. Now, what I want to do is the reason I wanted to play that clip again is because there was a point I wanted to make about financial anxiety and how that shapes how we view relationships. So we get our money, we get our fame, we get our success. Trauma creates what my wife refers to as trauma responses, where basically, and I need to bring my wife in here because she's a certified trauma professional. That's what she actually got a certification that I just learned because she talks a lot and I listen. When you got to listen to your wife, and so that trauma response, don't trust nobody, or I'm worried about what people are doing. They trying to get my money, etc. That trauma response can come from previous experiences, right? Either pain or hurt you've experienced. But I did more research on Shannon Sharpe's background, and I saw where he mentioned how poor he was as a kid. He said, we were so poor that a robber broke in our house and we robbed the robber, right? It's a kind of a joke. And so that poverty can shape how you view money. It can create that financial anxiety that you have all throughout your life. How many of you grew up poor? How many of you would say that you grew up poor? I'm going to say yes, because my mother was 17. We didn't have any money. We lived in the projects. We lived in the government subsidized housing until I was about 10. And my father used a veterans program, I believe, to get our first house, which it was funny. It cost $42,000. But getting that house was a big deal. And I saw my parents work their way up. I saw them finish college at the age of 30. I saw them get, every time they got a job, it was a better job. And so we learned hard work and education, these very simple values that kind of led to the creation of financial security by having a good perspective in terms of what it looks like to build wealth and, you know, solid credit and savings and investing and all that stuff. So my parents did all that, right? But a lot of you grew up poor. But one thing you don't know is that poverty is a type of financial trauma. And it's very traumatic to be super poor. It's very traumatic to be hungry. It's very traumatic to not have enough. It's very traumatic to go to school and get made fun of because your shoes got holes in it, right? So that trauma spills over into adulthood. So when you become the rich adult man and you're 6'2", 230 pounds of pure muscle and world famous, there's still parts of you that's still that insecure little boy who grew up poor in Georgia, who was so poor that he didn't have the basics of what he needed, and also didn't seem to have the a traditional household, because usually when a kid's getting raised by their grandparents, something is wrong. There's something that's not there, something that's not stable. So even though a lot of us want to believe that what happens to you in the past has nothing to do with the present or your choices in the future, that's just simply not true. And so one of the things I think you could pick up from this is if you are shopping, if you are looking for a human being to invest in, it would be very important for you to understand what that person's made of, what that person's experiences were up until that point. You know, it's just the same way if you eat food, you want to know what ingredients are in the food. If you drive a car, you want to know who manufactured that car and what components they put in that car. If you move into a house, you want some information available to you to know, like, you know, okay, does this house have asbestos in it? And unfortunately, you have some human beings that have what I would call the equivalent of emotional asbestos, which kind of affects and infects their ability to have healthy relationships going forward. I'm not putting that on Shannon Sharpe, but I am saying that when a person is actually over the age of 35, I believe 35 is the magic number. When a person's over 35 and they're not locked in for a long-term relationship and have never really been in one, there's usually a reason. It does not mean that it's a bad reason, though. It does not mean that something's wrong with the person or that they're gay or terrible, but it could mean those things. Those things are all on the table. But it also may mean that they have another relationship. Shannon Sharpe has been in a long-term relationship with at least two things: football and his dogs. Football and his dogs. He's been married to football since he was 18 years old, because football was the tool. Pay attention now. The tool that was going to get him out of his financial situation. Do you understand? So football became his first wife when he realized that his first wife could sponsor him getting his family out of the poverty situation that they were in that caused him so much trauma. Do you get what I'm saying? Let me know if you're following this. So the reason I believe that Shannon Sharpe does not have a wife is because he's always had a wife. His life was his wife. Football was his wife. Any other woman that came along after that was going to pretty much be the side chick. And he makes it 100% clear. I mean, give him credit for being very honest about it. He made it very, very clear. I could never love a woman as much as I love football, but she got to love me as much as I love football. So do you see the contradiction there, right? I need you to love me as much as I love football, but I'll never love you as much as I love football. I'll always love football more than I love you, right? That's a tough deal for a woman to kind of fit into. And even if she does accept that standard, because a lot of women will accept a relationship with a great man where she's not getting everything she needs or whatever. But even then, there's still going to be some reason why, because of that trauma, some reason why you still don't qualify, right? So in a way, it's kind of like solving a puzzle that doesn't have a solution, or digging for gold in the backyard when there is no gold back there, or trying to accomplish something where everything is kind of stacked against you from the beginning. And so when you run into people like that, I think that understanding that trauma and understanding that past goes a long way to knowing if you're wasting your time or not. Just like when you make an investment, you have to assess your investment. What's the odds that this investment is going to pay off? Everything that we do in investing and in finance applies to relationships. The only difference between investing with money and investing with love is that love and time and energy are more valuable than money. A bad relationship can take things away from you that money cannot buy, right? You cannot buy back your youth. You know, you were young and beautiful at 25, and now you're 35. You ain't as young and beautiful as you were before. You're still gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. I didn't agree with Kevin Samuels when he said women over 35 are leftovers and all that other stuff. I said, that's nonsense. That's crazy to me. That's crazy talk. I get out of here with that stuff. But still, 35 ain't the same as 25. 45 ain't the same as 35. And I'm gonna just tell you that really, I think culturally speaking, you know, when I talk about the economics, I love talking about the culture. I really think that rappers and athletes, unfortunately, because of corporate pushing of a certain image and a certain culture onto us through the hip hop culture and athlete culture, it distorts our perspective on what a good man even looks like. It really does. There's not much in the athlete culture or the rapper culture that speaks to solid marriage and family. Like if you look at those traditional values, like he's not going to cheat on me. Well, athletes cheat all the time. Every study shows that high testosterone makes men more sexually active, especially younger men. So when Kobe Bryant got married at 20 years old, I said, oh Lord, this man, he's a scandal waiting to happen. So 4 or 5 years later, you saw what happened. Kobe got in that situation where he met a lady. 45 minutes later, he's raw dogging this lady in a hotel room, and she has sex with 3 men the same week. That's nasty as hell. Now you're bringing all that home to your wife, right? And so when I would listen to Ocho Cinco and Shannon talk, and not Ocho, I'm sorry. Well, Terrell Owens, Terrell, Ocho, and Shannon are kind of like a trio of just these great wide receivers who are doing great jobs on these podcasts and everything. I saw Terrell say, you know, we good men. I'm a good man. I vouch for y'all. Y'all some good men too. Now, I'm not saying he's not a good man. I believe that. But then again, the definition of a good man is variable, right? If a man is unavailable, does that affect whether or not he's a good man? Well, it depends on what the woman's looking for, right? You're talking about men that are 50 years old who haven't committed in a significant way to family or anything really. They might have kids, but I don't know. I don't think Terrell is married. I don't think Ocho's married. I don't think that Shannon. I know Shannon ain't married. And then the other piece of that too is I saw, and this is something that we don't talk about enough in the community, but I really think we should, is I saw a disturbing video where Ocho Cinco and Terrell were talking. And they were just kind of talking, just talking crazy about stuff they did, their little shenanigans. And I think it was Ocho. It was either Ocho or Terrell. I can't remember which one. But I could have swore one of them said something like, yeah, man, remember we went to the DR and man, we had 15 women in one night. And I think one of them was a little embarrassed. I got to go look it up because I can't remember which one said it. And one of them said it and the other one was like, come on, man, don't be telling everybody our business. He didn't really respond. But I was sitting here thinking, I want you to process that for a minute. Give me a yes or no. Maybe I'm just old fashioned with it. But does anybody even think about how unhealthy that is? Right? Like again. So would you consider seriously? Or let's flip it. Let's make it easy, fellas. If you got with a woman and she said, "I slept with 15 dudes in one night," would you consider that to be a good woman? Yes or no? I'm gonna let y'all answer that question because I already know the answer. Would y'all even? I mean, seriously. Now, again, we know I believe men and women are different. I just do. I think that we're built different. I think that I think there's a reason why men care about a woman's body count a little bit more than women do, and I get that. But there is a point where a man's body count matters too. When Kobe Bryant went and had unprotected sex with a lady, I got to be careful because I'm talking about somebody who's dead. I talked about Kevin already, so I know people get funny when you talk about a dead guy, but this is just me being honest with you. When Kobe Bryant slept unprotected with a woman who had sex with 3 other dudes that week, and then you see his wife at the press conference with the big diamond ring on, and she's trying to stand by her man, even though she probably didn't want to. I'm really wondering, I wonder if there were any consequences to this very irresponsible behavior. I'm not judging the infidelity. I don't think that's my job. I really don't. I think that it happens in a lot of marriages, and I think that there's different couples find different ways to work around that. Honestly, I even think you marry an athlete or an entertainer and you expect 100% infidelity. I think you should probably just not get married. I really do, because I just seen too much in terms of athletes and entertainers and the options that they have. It's very, very hard to tame a young, sexually energetic man who's literally on stage having women throw their panties at him. I just don't know how that's supposed to work. I'm not judging. I'm not telling you what it shouldn't be. I'm just saying that some of these fairy tales, are just not all that realistic. However, when you get out here and a man does do something that he shouldn't be doing, I think that there's a fundamental disrespect for your family that you're showing when you're doing these things and you're not protected, or you're doing these things in a very extreme, egregious way. Like, so male or female, I would be deeply concerned. I would not consider a person to be a good catch if they told me, oh yeah, I had one wild night where I slept with 15 people in the same night. I'd be like, no, you for the streets. I would definitely say that when it comes to women. But if I was a woman dating a man, I don't know how women look past that when there are women out here who literally have died from AIDS because their husbands gave it to them. Like that's a real thing that has happened. Right. So again, I'm not judging or anything like that. I'm not telling anybody what to do. But I really think that when you're talking about these investments, right, we talk about financial investments, but just understand everything that I understand in terms of financial investing can be applied when it comes to investing your health, when it comes to investing your time, when it comes to investing your love. All of the variables, everything, every single thing I can teach you about financial investing applies to when you make the real investments, which are who you choose to spend your life with, who you choose to chase. And so women are naturally wired to chase after the athletes because they're big and they're strong, and women are attracted to strength and security and all that. Maybe he's famous and he has lots of money, and I get all those attractions. But then there has to be a real conversation about what you're really getting yourself into, because there are also a lot of women who they call this the winner's curse in economics. There are a lot of women who had what I call the winner's curse. The winner's curse is when you won the prize, you think that the man you got was the prize, but he wasn't the prize. He was the booby prize, because you got a piece of shit shaped like a man, and this man had no semblance of responsibility or commitment to doing what is necessary to truly be there as the head of a household and a family. I'm going to say this and be 100% clear. If a man does not have some ability or desire to express some degree of sexual discipline, he is not in a position to be a leader. He is not in a position to head a household. He is not in a position to protect wealth. He will eventually lose his power. You don't believe me? Just watch how many rappers and entertainers are going to go down now that men are being sued for crazy things they did in the 2000s. Again, Diddy can sleep with whoever he wants, but when I heard the story about him and Aaron Hall videotaping their freak offs and everybody's having sex with everybody, that to me is extreme. That's disrespecting the importance and the power of sexuality, which is designed to actually create human beings. It's very powerful. Love and sex are very powerful and very sacred. I mean, you're exchanging energy with another person. And I'm not saying that you should have a certain number of partners and all that, or wait till marriage. I don't get into all that. I'm just simply saying you got to respect the process and how powerful it can be and how quickly it can destroy you if you allow it to go to all those extremes. When you maintain that slave buck culture, because that's where it comes from. A lot of it comes from slavery. We had the slave breeders who would literally go and have sex with 100 women a day or whatever, and they would get all the women pregnant on the plantation, and it was kind of chaotic, right? The white man did that to us, and I think that as Black people, we have to be consciously sort of aware of these things. Now, again, I'm not talking about Shannon Sharpe in this particular part of the conversation because I don't know enough about his sex life. I don't have any idea. All I know is I know what the story Ocho and T.O. were sharing about the 15 women they had in the DR in one night, which is just, come on now. And I also know that within hip hop and sports, they kind of overlap, which these are the two spaces that Black men have been allowed in society to be successful, because if it's the stereotype, the Black man is the big buck, or the Black man being the entertainer for white folks. So these are the spaces where Black men, they get showered with lots of money, lots of fame, lots of admiration. And sometimes that ends up leading to very extreme behavior, particularly from young men who don't have a strong father, an intelligent father, to guide their decision making, to kind of say, yo, son, look, I understand you want to get out here and do whatever. I did that too, but here are some consequences for those choices, right? And I just don't know if we think about that enough. But I would encourage you to think about these things. If you're trying to pick partners and build with another person, I encourage you to think about these things, because these things, when the consequences come knocking, people don't really talk about it. Like, older women, there aren't that many 45, 50-year-old women who will really tell real life stories to younger women, so they kind of know what to look out for. And there aren't a lot of older men who will be honest about mistakes they made, so that younger men can learn from those mistakes. So sometimes when I speak, that's my effort to, when I pull out Uncle Boyce, that's my effort to just share from an honest perspective what I've seen, so that younger people can kind of know you do have a choice. And I do believe that anything taken to the extreme is usually going to, you're going to be at risk of destroying yourself. And so anyway, so going back and just sort of concluding on Shannon, I think the big things to learn here, and this is what I'm seeing, but I can't speak with specifics because I don't know Shannon Sharpe, but I did notice when you talk about that being raised by your grandparents, it makes me wonder what happened with your mom. And then that might explain to me why the poor guy's 55 years old, claiming he's still looking for the one. You know, you're not 25, you're not 35, you're not even 45. But at the same time, I can't talk. You know, I didn't get married till I was over 45 years old. I think that I think everybody has a right to take their time and make their decision when they want to make it. But I think at the same time, though, there are consequences for those who will believe what someone says instead of studying what they actually do and studying what they're actually made of. So if somebody tells me, if I'm looking to get married and the person says, yeah, I'll get married once I find the one, I just haven't found the one, I'm gonna be sitting there thinking like, well, wait a minute, if you dated 45 people before me and in the last 2 years or whatever, or 5 years, and you still haven't found the one, what's my odds of actually being the one? My odds are probably pretty low. And then also, if you don't come from a family where that was the example of masculinity, that was the example of manhood, how can I ever believe that this is the example that you're going to follow? Because I have a limited amount of time here. As a woman, my fertility window is pretty short, right? It ends, you know, it really starts to deteriorate after 35. It's kind of gone once you get in your 40s. I mean, I know that they're inventing medicine and all that, and there's women that have babies in their 40s. So I'm not saying that that's not possible, but the science says that the eggs change. The eggs get older. You become a high-risk pregnancy. It's a little bit tougher. So it really, that sweet spot where those women are between 25 and 35 and you're the hottest thing in the room, I think your time is much more valuable than any amount of money you have in your bank account. Your time is much more valuable than your master's degrees and whatever corporate job you have. I think your time is precious. It is a valuable commodity. And I would encourage women in that age bracket to get as much therapy as you need to get so you know your self-worth enough that you are able to make sure that nobody truly wastes your time. But at the same time, you know, you can't bust guys' balls. You know, maybe you got to figure out who you're dealing with and then pick somebody who's equally yoked in terms of what the objective is. What's the goal? What's the game? What game are we playing here? And the hard part, this is the crazy part. I'm gonna tell you this. This reminds me of being the boss of a company. Let me tell you a little secret. I used to hire people based on what they said that they could do. I used to hire them like if I said, okay, I need this job and I need it done at a certain level and I need it done by this date. Can you do it? And what I learned the hard way from losing lots of money is that there were a lot of people who would just tell me what I wanted to hear. Like, oh, well, are you able to do this? Oh, yeah. I can figure out how to do this. Okay, so can you do it by Tuesday? Yeah, I can get it done by Tuesday. And a lot of times they couldn't actually do it and they couldn't get it done by the deadline, but they needed the money. They were desperate to get something from me. So they were willing to tell me whatever they could tell me because they were kind of rolling the dice. They were kind of shifting. In finance, we call that risk shifting. They were shifting the risk onto me because what was happening was they would then go back and say, oh God, I just told Boyce I can finish this job by Tuesday and I don't even know what I'm doing. So they would try to figure it out. And then when they didn't figure it out, I would be the one stuck holding the bag because I paid for a job that did not get done, or I depended on you and you did not come through for me. Right. And so instead of actually listening to what people say, I now watch what they do. And I also I don't listen to you when you tell me what you're capable of doing. I look for evidence that you've actually done it before. Right? I do independent verification that goes far beyond just what you say to me because I know that the temptation of money, that because people need money so bad, they're going to tell you any lie. And give me yes, you know what I'm talking about. If you're following this analogy, they will tell you any lie they got to tell because they need that money by Wednesday to pay the rent. Right. And I understand it. I respect it. But I run a company. I cannot be wasting my money on people that can't actually do the job. So what I would say is the same thing is true, I think, when it comes to relationships and sexuality. Right. Ladies, look, let's be real. You know, God blessed you between your legs and in your body with one of the most precious assets that a human being can own. You literally have something on your body that has the ability to give life to another person. There's nothing on my body that can actually carry a baby and give life. And it feels good and it's nice and men love it. And we spend our whole lives interested in what you got going on. So what happens, I think, is that when a man says, okay, hey girl, I'd like to get some of that. And then you're like, well, are you gonna be with me for good, or is this gonna be a hit it and quit it? Oh, no, baby, I'm a love you. No, I'm really into you, girl. Okay. Are are you interested in getting married, or are you just having a little bit of fun? No. Well, I am interested. I just haven't met the one. I haven't met the one. Now remember, like you're female number 2,844. And for whatever reason, maybe somehow you've been convinced that you're going to be the one, though, because that's what he said. Well, I'm sorry. Just like the analogy where I was explaining, like, because I had money and people want that money and they'll lie to get that money. A lot of men will lie to get your good stuff, right? And the thing is, the crazy part about the lie is that the lie is so deep that sometimes they'll lie and not even know that they're lying. They may because they're lying to themselves. Like Shannon Sharpe, I really believe him. He's a credible guy. He's a smart man. I really believe that inside his heart of hearts, he really believes that the reason he's not married is because he ain't met the one. He ain't met the right woman. Or he ain't met a woman that's qualified for the job. But I'm looking at this from a practical standpoint and saying, bro, you're as famous as they get, as rich as they come. You are built like an Adonis. And there are thousands of women lined up at the door still at the age of 55 trying to shoot their shot, and you ain't met the one yet. You're looking for something that does not exist. You're looking to marry a fairy from Neptune or something. Like, I don't know what are you looking for? Seriously. I don't believe you now. I just don't. I think you and your therapist have to figure out. And I see a little tiny clues because I admire the guy. I really do. I want to make it clear. I admire the guy, but I see little clues. Okay, I see something might have been going on with the mama because you were raised by the grandparents. That makes me want to ask more questions. And again, if Shannon hears this, I would love to have Shannon on the platform and talk because there ain't no animosity here, ain't no ill will. The financial anxiety. Okay, grew up in poverty. Okay, I saw that. Oh, football was my first love, and then I need a woman that's gonna love me as much as I love football, but I'll never love her as much as I love football. And then also I need a woman. I could have sworn, I got to double check, but I could have sworn somebody said that he'll never put a woman before his dogs. Right? So that really speaks to a lot of issues and challenges that I'm hopeful that a therapist can help him work through. But either way, though, I think that just in terms of talking about individuals that are learning from this conversation, and I just find these things really fascinating. I like kind of figuring out the clues and adding the pieces and putting it all together. And it comes from that book, Financial Lovemaking. I actually wrote about it. I wrote that book years ago. I need to do an update on it, but it was a lot of fun because I like how money relates to life, right? I like how money shapes our choices. It shapes our preferences. It shapes everything. And in fact, that's one of the reasons why I say that Black people, our number one priority needs to be our economics, because the white man controls your whole life because he controls your money. He controls what you do. He controls where you live. He controls what you want. He controls your culture, all these things. And if you want to break away from that, you're going to have to understand how to at least get enough money to protect yourself financially so you're not stuck in those situations, or even in relationships. Ladies, look, I know you got these rich athletes and rappers out here that'll wave a couple dollars in front of you to get some ass or whatever. Well, I would like our daughters to know how to make their own money so they don't have to go and give away something as precious as their body for something as cheap as a little piece of paper that has less value every year. Right? That dollar is going down in value every single year, but you're literally some women are trading their bodies for pieces of paper, worthless pieces of paper. They can print these pieces of paper on demand, but they can't print a black woman's womb on demand. A black woman's womb has a far more value than a piece of paper. So the fact that we've allowed that to become cheapened, to the point where we got rappers being paid by corporations to literally convince young girls to sell their vaginas for $1.95 and a bag of Cheetos, should be absolutely insulting to you. It's the most disgraceful shit I've ever seen in my life. It's unacceptable. It's just not something that you can build a community on, and I protest against that. I speak against that. I hope that others will agree with me in that assessment, and I hope you'll be vocal about this so I don't end up being the only asshole who's getting tortured for saying things that people don't want to hear. All right. So anyway, That's it, guys. That's all I got to say. I ain't got nothing else. I hope this conversation was helpful to you. Also, don't forget, we have a social media platform. You know, I have my trouble on Instagram. They chopped down that page, but it's all good. I have my other Instagram, Dr. Boyce Finance. It's growing every day. But we decided to not invest as much in Instagram and Facebook anymore. We have a social media platform called B1 Nation, b1nation.us. The URL's on the screen, be1nation.us. Feel free to join. There's about 70,000 of you on there now, and that's going to be kind of the haven. That's the spot. That's where we're intelligent Black people are connecting there. So if you like it, like the kind of stuff that we talk about here, join us at b1nation.us. Also, if you want to get stock picks sent to your text, I'm going to send a link this week for 13 side hustles you can start for under $100. My goal is to help you succeed economically. I wouldn't be a good finance professor if I didn't do that. So if you'd like to receive some of these free resources from the Black Business School, just text the word stock to 31996. Text stock to 31996. Also, this podcast is on Spotify and Apple. And also this weekend, we're going to be doing Start Your Business Weekend with Dr. Lene Javette. I'll send you guys a link where you can join that. And Dr. Boyce Real Estate also starts this weekend as well. You can go to drboycerealestate.com if you'd like to learn about real estate. I'm bringing in all my friends and connections in real estate, from commercial to multifamily, house flipping, any type of real estate you want to understand. We got you. We got you in the Black Business School. We're the best on earth at what we do. We're an HBCU for the 21st century, and we believe in Black excellence, and we are getting it done. So God bless you all. Thank you so much for listening. And once again, I want to just say to Shannon Sharpe, if you hear this, brother, no disrespect at all. I have nothing against you at all, and I wish you the very best. And I hope that some of this commentary is not taken out of context, because I'm not trying to be out here hating on nobody, because I like Shannon Sharpe. I really do. All right, guys, hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Have a good night. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.